Make a Path presents Let's Talk.
The Walking Dead Q&A 35. Bar Axis. What do you think Kirkman had planned with Magna in the comics? You thought she might become the leader of the Alexandria Safe Zone. You know what? I'm very happy you brought this up. No, I do not believe it's something as big as Magna becoming the leader of the Alexandria Safe Zone. But let me tell you the genius of it. And I do believe there's more story to Magna. But let me just simplify the genius of The New Beginning. And this is why I so want to interview Robert Kirkman, or even just meet him and have a conversation with him about a couple things. Because this is why I think The New Beginning is genius. We build up the Walking Dead universe, we find a character so impactful as Negan that changes the whole universe. It changes it all. Because we have this war, and then after the war, we have a couple years of peace and prosperity. Alexandria Safe Zone gets rebuilt, they regrow. It's a bigger community. It's a newer community than it was at the end of All Out War. Now, we get issue 127, and it's a time skip, so everything is new, it's fresh. Robert Kirkman changes the logo, the Walking Dead logo that we've had for 10 years, changes the comic book logo, which I love and support the change. In changing the logo, he changed the cover design. We get more of a cover. A lot of times the images were covering up the logo because the logo was like huge. It took up like half the friggin' comic. So we get a new cover design. We have a new beginning story inside the new cover. And we start the new beginning inside the new cover with a new group. Everything about the new beginning is symbolically new and it's fresh. And that's why I think that Magna was important for the story, for that feel of it being new. And they're going to utilize her and her group later on for something big. But just for that little thing alone, making it completely new. Everything was new. New cover, new beginning, new story. After a time skip, the characters have new outfits, new looks. And then we have a new group. And that's why I think that was genius. Miss Leslie Picklebottom. Has any of the Walking Dead characters' death made you cry? No, not in the comic. In the TV show, I did choke up a little. You know, that little warm feeling in the chest you get with Sophia coming out of the barn. That was a little... I think that's because I have a daughter and everything, and it was more like Carol's pain. It was like harsh. It was like, fuck. And I think that scene was just so perfect. You have Shane, who... he just controlled the whole scene, and he was in control the whole time, and it was Shane's moment to shine. And then when Sophia came out of the barn, it was like Shane he didn't know, he couldn't even look at it. You know, he had to look away. And that was the moment where Rick said, you know what, Shane, you were wearing the big boy pants, you knew what to do, you were the man, right? Well, you can't even handle this problem. You can't even look at this problem. I know he wasn't thinking that, but that's what he did. Rick stepped forward and he put the girl down, and I think that was just a powerful scene. Joe Rector, how do you think the fans will react to Rick imprisoning Negan and not killing him for what he did? I am not sure the show's going to even go that far. If it does, I think they're going to act the same way the comic book fans did. Thomas 98G, how do you think the AMC is going to kill Daryl? Answer that, please. Well, I don't think AMC will kill Daryl. I think the writers for The Walking Dead will kill Daryl. Right now, I don't know. I have a feeling All Out War, or I want to believe All Out War. A Jumps, 1992. What if we have Morgan come in, date Michonne, and then he dies like Glenn dies in the comics, da-da-da-da. You know what? If they build up Morgan's character, yeah, but Morgan just doesn't have that hope and innocence to him that Glenn does. You know, Morgan doesn't embody that innocence that Glenn does. So, no. Sammy Rodabaugh, how long do you think the All Out story arc will last? How long do you think the All Out War story arc will last? I'm hoping the All Out War is at least one entire season. Fawn 14. What do I think about a video game that follows the characters from the TV show? I think it's a fantastic idea. If you do it the right way, I think that would sell. Like, sell out. Strife 10301. Do you think they should adapt Michonne's backstory? No, they already touched on it Keep it moving. Mason French. Good question. If Morgan meets up with the group, how do you think he will react to the changes Rick has gone through since he's seen him last? You know what? Morgan has made some drastic changes himself. Morgan, I think he would understand a lot and not be taken back. Good question. I think Morgan would be very understanding, but I still think that for some reason Morgan's going to be like a voice of reason, kind of like a Herschel, you know? Mr. Spooky Low. Do you think Daryl is a Nazi because he had a Nazi mark on his motorcycle? No, that was not Daryl's motorcycle. That was Merle's. Tina Hobbs. Besides Rick, whose death would disturb me on The Walking Dead? Michonne. I'm picking the same one. Michonne, Glenn. Yeah, Michonne, Glenn. Those would be pretty bad. Who would win in a fight? Ronnie Hayes or the Zeus Tuber? Well, I don't know. He's got that Fight Club going on. He's been practicing. If you could pick 3 of your subscribers to survive in the zombie apocalypse, who would it be and why? The best looking 3, all females, and I don't have to explain why. That is blatantly obvious. Wait a minute. We'd probably all starve to death, though. Best accessory in The Walking Dead. Like Rick's beard, Daryl's gun, crossbow, everything like that. I tell you what. Here's one I don't think you'll ever see coming. Carol's knife. They have a similar knife they used in World War II, and they used it in Boardwalk Empire, Jimmy Darmody. And I freaking love that knife, man. I would go with Carol's knife. I've loved that knife. If I was in the group, which female would I try to get with? Well, I would try to be best friends with Michonne, because I think she is freaking cool. Got a beautiful smile. She'd be like my buddy chick, you know. And then if she wanted to screw around, I would screw around with her all day. And but if I was just going in for a wham bam thank you, ma'am. You know what? I mean, Maggie's got Glenn. I don't think Rosita, damn it, she seems like high maintenance. Rosita, no, I'm gonna get Tara to change sides, you know, and then maybe she can convince another. This is getting dirty. Celtic Cowboy. When do I think Morgan is going to be introduced and a part of Rick's group? I am personally shooting for the end of Season 5 or the beginning of Season 6. Alyssa Spagley. What do I think about Carol, and will she die this season, maybe in the finale? No, I thought that for a while, but I'm starting to think that they want to do more with that character, so I think Carol's good for now. The Walking Dead dude. Would I like to see Negan save Rick or Carl from an enemy? Yeah, but I think that would be cool, but then you'd have to think, why is he saving him, you know? Are you pissed that they just threw away the sickness after the arc was told in Season 4? They just used it as a time burner before the governor returned and discarded it afterwards. Well, I mean, the sickness is still a possibility, and I'm hoping it does come up again. I hope some character does get sick and it's like, oh shit, you know, that's still there. Favorite Walking Dead comic cover? The one with Maggie and Baby Herschel on it. How much better do you think the show would be on HBO? I do not think the show would be any better on HBO. I think that a lot of it would be polluted with just, you know, tits and ass, and there'd be a lot more sex scenes, and I think it would water down the actual importance of what's going on. I think there'd be more shipping too. I have this feeling. And let's not forget, HBO had the chance to do it, and they wanted the zombie gore to be dialed back. And that's one of my favorite parts of the show. I am glad it's not with HBO, because they turned it down. They had a choice, and they turned it down. And if they're not creative enough to see the potential in this show, then they don't deserve it. Bottom line. Do you think after the Walking Dead show ends, it will be eventually rebooted into another Yeah, I've said this. Walking Dead's around. It'll be, yeah, it's here to stay. Brian Romero. Have you ever considered making weekly podcasts talking about The Walking Dead and other stuff? You know what? Here's the thing about podcasts. They piss me off so much because a lot of people in podcasts will start a podcast and then for an hour they're talking about what they did that weekend. Here's our guest. Who are you? What do you do? What are you like? And a lot of podcasters, they really start believing that people are there to just absorb them. And you'll see more and more and more and more of the podcast, and the time is utilized talking about, oh, what funny story happened to you this weekend? And then like 40 minutes into the podcast, they finally talk about the podcast. It's, for the most part, you know, 9 out of 10 of them suck. they just suck, you know, because they take so long to get to what you want to hear. And the podcasters all think they're important for some reason. But there are good podcasts, you know. You need a good balance. You really do. Now, I've never thought about it because I don't know. I don't even know how to start that. Like, where do you do the podcast? Where do you air it? Where does it... I just don't know.
Subscribe now.